Thank you for joining me for another quick hits conversation. I'm Dr. Robyn. I'm a concierge high performance psychologist providing luxury level support to executives, entrepreneurs, celebrities, and athletes. With me today, I have Rabbi Yonason Goldson. He is the ethics ninja and the hitchhiking rabbi. He is a retired high school teacher and now helps companies create a culture of ethics. He is also the founder and co-founder of two very interesting podcasts. I have Alexi Bracey. She's a cancer reversal expert focusing on health and healing from the holistic side. And I have Brandon Mahoney. He's the co-founder of LaunchPoint Labs, a national venture firm where he is the expert in creating sales departments. He is known as Dr. Startup. The question today, what is the difference between being anxious and being alert and focused? Brandon, kick us off.
So to me, it entirely comes down to choice. I don't choose to be anxious. As someone who suffers from anxiety and being anxious all the time, I get that. But when it comes to being alert and focused, I'm making a conscious choice to be that.
I've heard it said that anxiety and excitement manifest exactly the same way physiologically.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the techniques we can use when we're anxious is to try to reframe it as excitement. We have more control over our moods than we might think that we do. And ultimately, I think anxiety comes from a sense of fear. I may not feel prepared for what's coming. But if I look at it as an opportunity to develop new skills, to test myself in an unusual situation, I might be able to reframe it in a way that relieves me of some of that sense of dread.
That's a good word, dread.
Well, I would say anxiety could very well be related to some kind of emotional instability, some kind of challenge going on. Anxiety and depression sort of go hand in hand, whereas being focused and alert, it's almost, again, a mindset thing. You're really focused, you're positive in your mindset, you're going to do this or not do this, and you have a game plan. So one, you have a roadmap, and the other one is, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know where I'm going to go.
I think for me, anxiety is when it starts to spiral. Like I start, the same things are going on in my head and I'm not making progress and I'm just anxious. Like it's not okay. Whereas if I'm alert and focused, it's very much like, okay, I know I'm going to do this thing and this thing's going to be okay. And I'm going to work through it and it's going to be fine. And so I have to catch that spiral to manage the anxiety part.
Yeah, I would definitely say being alert it's productive.
You
mentioned that I taught high school for 23 years. And I know, at least according to some studies, teaching is the most stressful profession. Because no matter how well prepared you are with your material, you never know what the dynamic is going to be like on any given day. You have a lot of variables in one room at one time, class after class after class. And certainly for new teachers, that can present a tremendous amount of anxiety because they haven't experienced yet. But afterwards, it becomes a certain second nature. You are focused, you are alert. You've had the experience that pretty much what's likely to happen. You're trained for it, you're prepared for it. And that can create a certain positive energy.
That's true. This week, I just did the first session of the Better Conversations course. And going in, was I anxious? I was certainly very alert and very like, am I going to be able to do this? Because it's not my content. I'm doing it for someone else. And I knew from my experience of having been a facilitator, of having done trainings, I could handle any situation that came up. And I think to your point, Yonason, that being prepared helps with the anxiety, because if I know, regardless of what happens, left field or whatever, I can manage it, that's going to help with the anxiety.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, because more than 20 years ago, I was on my cancer recovery journey. And when I was diagnosed, I very much was alert and had a game plan in place. So I was very focused. Maybe I was a little anxious here and there, but I was committed that I was going to stay on what I was going to do. And I didn't let anxiety get the better of me. I really stayed focused and alert, and it worked for me.
So if you feel that you're starting to, I'm going to use the word spiral, I know that's my word, but spiral into that anxiety space, what do you do? How do you stop it?
Breathing.
It's breathing and it's taking a moment to try to figure out what's causing it. If I can identify what's causing it, then I can figure out a way to prevent it from getting worse.
Yeah, and also to shift, sometimes you can shift to an area where you feel more confidence. For instance, you mentioned that you're teaching something that's not your content, but presumably you can integrate some of the content that is yours that aligns with what you're teaching. I know that my students would sometimes tell me that I was much more engaging on some subjects than others. And that's because those are the things I was passionate about. We know what we're talking about when we're interested, when we're excited, and then we communicate that to others. Naturally, our anxiety is going to dissipate.
Yeah, being able to tell stories is good for me. Even if it's not my content, I have stories that can relate to the content, and that helps too. The other thing that I do, and obviously off camera or off stage or whatever, is toddlers, when they get overwhelmed, throw a tantrum and they flail their arms and legs and like scream and carry on. And people get angry at them for that, but they are onto something, that if you can release the physical energy of that anxiety, that fight, flight, freeze kind of anxiety that comes up, it can help. And so off stage, I will often either bounce or shake my arms or just kind of get moving a little bit so that I can eliminate some of that pent up energy. And I find that helps for me.
Sometimes if you have an anchor, to think back of another time when you felt very much composed and in control, focus on that. How did you feel? Sometimes people use their fingers to use as an anchor to remember, like you were the example you gave about the small child. But unfortunately, when children are reacting to something that we don't think is appropriate, but it may be appropriate for 4 or 5-year-old. And what do? We tell them to sit down, shut up, which is the worst thing you can do. So then they're taught that they cannot express their emotions.
You got me thinking about a soldier on high alert. You know, the unknown, the possibility of enemies coming out of the weeds, coming out of the brush. You know, it's an incredibly high tension position. But it'd be interesting to talk to battlefield veterans about what their mood is. They're certainly on high alert. Are they necessarily feeling anxiety? Again, it may go back to that training and that self-confidence.
That makes me think that anxiety has a worry aspect to it.
Yeah, if I don't feel that I'm equipped to handle the situation, I'm certainly going to be anxious.
It'd be interesting to learn what the Blue SEALs are taught to remain in that calm state focus.
So I'm wondering then, when you're alert and focused, what does that feel like? We've talked about anxiety and the worry and the stress. What does alert and focus feel like in contrast?
Composed, in control, just a good state that nothing's going to frazzle you. You know what you're going to say, what you're going to do, and you just are in control of your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts.
Yeah, it hits me with it's like confidence. Like I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get it done. Nothing's gonna stop me. When I have that plan written out and I'm focused on it, I'm good to go.
Yeah, so all the C words: calm, control, confident.
There's also an eagerness, which makes me wonder whether how that is compatible with calm. I mean, it could be, but it's, if you think of a sprinter waiting for the gun to go off, I wouldn't describe their mood as being calm.
That would be coiled.
Yeah, coiled and certainly in
Confident.
control.
Yeah. So again, the big C words.
Calm is an interesting word, because there's calm like laid back and lackadaisical, and then there's calm like I am so intent and so focused that nothing has me frazzled right now.
Yeah, sort of poise.
Poise. Yeah, exactly.
They could be really, exciting. We've used that word already also, but looking forward to what's going to come, that anticipation, that eagerness, can really become something that's very positive.
I do think that there's something about anxiety being unfocused attention in some way. There's something about being able to take it and not spiral out of control and be able to focus it. So thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I think it was tougher than I thought it would be, and I appreciate you all doing it. I look forward to speaking to you each again really soon.